code. How are you doing tonight, Marty Ray, sir?
I am phenomenal, and I'm thankful to be talking to you. I
Well, and
appreciate
I'm
you inviting me on.
well. I'm checking my phone. I'm making sure that we're live, like I said we are. Yes, we are. Um, yeah. So I reached out to you. I think when I first set the time up, I didn't clarify if it was Central or Eastern. And are you in Nashville?
I'm in Nashville. Yep.
Yep. So that was my bad, but I will tell you, I sent a promotional thing out to quite a few of my friends, about 100 of them, and it came back with flying colors that they were looking forward to either watching this live or watching it later when it's a video. So you've got a bunch of fans here in Chattanooga.
Man, I'm thankful for that. I need all the fans I can get.
Um, I ran across you. Let's see, probably about 2 years ago. I ran across your version, which I know that's one of the things I've listened to other interviews, and it always comes up the Vanilla Ice, the Ice Ice Baby, because it's such a kind of unique remake or take on it. But then I started getting into your YouTube videos and just listening to your covers and your originals, and you got a gift. And like I've heard you say before, you came out singing, didn't you?
I came out of the womb singing. Showed it. Yep. Don't even know if I do it right. So I tell people ask me, they'll say, hey, can you give me any tips on how to sing? And I say, I can't give you no tips. God just put the song in me. I don't even know. Like I say, I don't even know if I do it right. So you have to ask somebody that actually knows how to sing to give you tips on how to sing.
No, you do it right. And, we've got a little bit of a delay because of internet, but I'll tell you what, I wrote a bunch of stuff down. But instead of doing that, I'm just going to read your bio off the Marty Ray project because I think that says it best. So if
Okay.
anybody's wondering what Marty Ray or what the Marty Ray project is, he goes, I make music as an independent artist with artists from all facets of life. I write and sing whatever I feel in my heart to write and sing. No creative box here. I will be honest with you. That's one of the things that attracted me to your music because sometimes I get blues and sometimes I get country. Sometimes I get rock, classic rock. I've heard your spin on this, but tell everybody why you didn't pick one lane and stay in it.
Well, there's not really any reason other than whatever's in my heart. I'm not. That's why I didn't sign with a record label and still won't because that's one of the reasons. There's many reasons, but one of them is because of that. I don't want to be put in a box, and I want to be able to write whatever I feel, and I can write it, and I don't have to write it and just hold on to it and hope somebody will sing it. I can sing it myself. So that's really the main reason that I don't want to. I don't want to be locked in no dungeon of creativity.
Yeah.
Don't lock me up.
Well, and I heard another interview you did about how labels will come on and not only do they want a piece of your talent, they want a piece of your merchandise, they want a piece of your tours, they want a piece of everything. And you're doing a lot of the work and they're getting a little bit of from it. You built yourself kind of from scratch. You're your own record label, right? You are you.
Actually, you are my record label. People like you, projectors, are my record label. So I sing and write for y'all. So that's all it is. That's the way it'll always be. The whole project is called a project because it's essentially just how far can a man go with just his fans and God behind him. And so far, we're not doing too bad. We got a ways to go though. But if this is as far as it goes, then we did a pretty good job.
Oh, you're
By
doing a great
ourselves.
job. You're doing a great job. If you're just now tuning in or you're watching this later on down the road, go check out some of his covers. He did, I'll be honest with you, probably other than the original, my favorite cover of Simple Man. It's just phenomenal. One of my daughter's favorite ones. By the way, my daughter's 15, and you got a big fan in her too. Hallelujah. You do a mix, though. You'll take two songs and merge them together. Is that something when did you start doing that? And is that something that you like to do? Who comes up with those ideas?
Oh well, any idea that I have, it always comes straight from me. I don't I don't I don't have anybody that. I mean, I occasionally have I'll occasionally have a friend like CJ. I know you've seen CJ Wilder playing with some of my music.
Yeah.
He's really, I guess he's really the only constant band member. If I had one, other than him, it's always just whoever's available. That's kind of how it is. But all the mashups and stuff like that, they just whatever sounds good together, I go with it.
So do you sit around and hear something and go, that would go good with that? Or do you actually search it out and try to find them?
No, it's because I'll a lot of times I'll change the song completely, like Ice Ice Baby and Gangster's Paradise. There was no chords to go off of on neither one of those songs. And then a lot of people back in the day when Ice Ice Baby first released, there was a lot of people saying things like, "Oh, you just took the music to some other song and did Ice Ice Baby to it." And I said, "Well, if I did, I don't know it, but I'm sure I did because G, D, E minor, and C are the most common chords in the whole guitar realm of playing. So sure, but I capoed it on the fourth, so I was still playing those four chords. So people, it's like I don't know, it's like people have to. It's almost like people have to if something does well, they have to. There's certain people that have to tear it down somehow.
It's amazing to me when not just your YouTube videos, but any YouTube videos, people take the time, unless it's talking about, killing puppies or something, people take the time to actually click the do not like button. I am way too busy and blessed to make sure I don't like it. I just think social media has given everybody sometimes they think their voice is more important than it is. It helps and it hurts. So, you get a lot of people out there wanting to give their opinions when really reality, they just don't have a lot to do.
Well, the thing about being anonymous, anonymity created monsters in the world because these people in real life would never say some of the things that they say. And I actually, not even just in real life, but some of these people, if they know that you see it or you read it, they wouldn't have said it. Because I ain't gonna sit here and act like I get a lot of hate because I don't. Thank God for it. I get just a lot of good comments. There's a lot of backhanded compliments too, but I just find them funny. They don't like somebody will say, "Man, this guy's fat, but he sure can sing," or something. And I'll just laugh and I'll be like, "Hey, at least he said I could sing because he's right. I am fat." So, but they're probably sitting back going, well, I just got him good. Well, I got him good. But in all reality, it didn't bother me at all. It was funny. But I do comment sometimes back to these people and say, "Man, I just want to say I laughed at your comment, or woman, whoever it is. I laughed at your comment and I thought it was funny. But there's people on this app, younger people and even older people that are very insecure and they're seeking for some kind of approval in life, some kind of validity.
Yeah,
And if they get a compliment like that that's backhanded and you attack them but also say they're good, it could cause them to go into a spiral downward and really mess up their life. I said you shouldn't be doing that to everybody, right?
absolutely.
But to me, I could care less. But
The
I always say, "Hey, God bless you," and I move on.
The other thing I was going to bring up about social media, because you're a social media, you're a beast on there, is 30 years ago, if you were a performer, writer, songwriter, entertainer, you kind of were at the mercy of labels or people that had the access to the groups, the crowds, the audiences. Um, Now social media has kind of opened the floodgate. I know it's good because you can do what you're doing, but now everybody can kind of try to do what you're doing. So do you look at it as all good, or what's bad about it? Do you see that people get lost in all the voices now that are out there, or is it just all good?
Well, when I first started out in music, like actually trying to pursue it professionally, I said, I thought just like everybody else still thinks to this day, a lot of people think the same thing. Well, I got to go get a record deal. That's how you become famous, and that's how you become known, and that's how you get your songs heard, and all these type of things. But very fastly, I learned that was not for me. I had a meeting with Sony Records before I had any fans. I had a meeting with Sony Records and a company called Average Joe's Records, and they just were. They felt they were saying things like, just giving me tips and pointers on how they weren't trying to sign me or develop me, but they were trying to act like, well, you should lose some weight and you should trim your facial hair and yada yada, all these things, and like you got a good voice, but your writing ain't all that great. You should look for some better songs. And I just looked at him. I said, how do you know? Like, how do you know? You know, like guy from Sony. I said, how do you know what's good and what ain't? And then they'll say things like, well, I've been involved with 150 number one hits. And I'm like, you were involved with them, but how many does that mean that you picked them? And if you did pick them, how many did you pick that said you said was going to go number one and didn't? Because nobody knows. Nobody knows what a hit's going to be. Nobody knew that Old Town Road was going to be at number one for 17 weeks. No kid, nobody called that. It just happened organically. It did, and then it stayed there. The kid, people can love him or hate him, but Little Nas X is a genius marketer because while that song was at number one, he just kept doing remix after remix after remix because he was like, I'm going to ride this wave as long as I can, and he's smart to do it because
Yeah.
you never know when the next opportunity's coming. It might not ever come.
Well, and a lot of people, in my opinion, a lot of people, that's a kind of like trial by fire, because a lot of people, when they're in that seat in front of Sony, would give in, and they might go that way, and it may work for them. But then there's people out there that know their heart and know that that's not the right path. And I think that's why you're rewarded. I think life is karma sometimes. If you know your path and you take it. I use podcasting all the time because I'm starting off in the podcast world, and a lot of people pick a genre and stay in it. I've had NFL All-Pro running backs. I've had people like you on. I've had businessmen. I like talking to interesting people. And I figure if I do something I really, really like long enough, at least if I die, I'll die doing something I love, but eventually it'll kick in. I need to tell you, we got a comment real quick. Allison Hogan, she says she's a big fan. Never lose the beard.
Man, it's a part of me now. I'm scared to even know what my face looks like.
Well, I had the quarantine, so I had a bigger beard, and I cut that in my hair, and I came out of the bathroom, and my daughter was not happy.
Yeah, I just cut my hair.
How do you pick covers, man? Do you just find songs you like, or do you hear something and go, I'm going to try it? How do you pick a song to cover?
Well, I didn't really answer your last question. I was thinking about how I didn't even answer it. I went off on a ramble and I didn't even answer. So let me just briefly answer that.
Yeah.
You asked, do I like the current state of the way music is a free for all, or
Right.
do I think it would be better as it used to be in the old ways with the record label only people getting heard? I'm for today's world where I would rather just be a free for all, and there are people that get drown out, but it's all about persistence in everything you do. So just like you just said, so if God put you here to sing or write or play or whatever, do this, if you stay persistent, and he honors that effort. So if you stay persistent and consistent, it will pay off eventually. So that I like that trait and that idea better than having to go through a record label that is the only way, because they control everything. Back then it was like, well, you have to have us or you will not get heard. So back then it wasn't like just be persistent and keep going. It didn't matter how persistent you were, you still, without them, you were not going to make it. So to answer that question, I like this structure way better than the last one.
Real quick, before we move on to talking about cover songs and some of the songs you've written, which I love, and I wrote one of them down. I heard it for the first time last night off your album, Expression, Not Perfection, Bare Feet.
Yep.
That's man. Me and my daughter listened to that one. It was awesome. But before we talk about cover songs and stuff, do you think with the social media now, people like you, have you found that you guys and girls that are doing what you do help each other? You share, you go on, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what I do with podcasting. I bring other podcasters on because I know what they're going through, trying to help grow each other's brands.
Music can be a very volatile place, and it don't matter what level you're on, right? There's a lot of people that are below my status, as far as if you want to call it a status. When you look at status, you look at numbers. So if I have 1 million fans across all platforms, and it's somewhere around there, so if I have that, then anybody under me would be just ecstatic to work with me, right?
Right.
But not because they like what I'm doing, because I have those numbers, you see. And so they said, well, I'll do whatever he says because he has those numbers, not because, hey, I love your music, I'd like to do something with you because I love your music. So, but then if people above me, above my numbers, they could care less because they're looking for somebody above their numbers. So me, I do work with people that are a long ways below me, but I make sure that it's people that I know and I love, and I like CJ. CJ's not always been in my band. We went to high school together, but anybody that I meet through in person, and because I'm open to work with anybody, but I want it to be real. I don't want it to just be, hey, I want to work with this guy because he has a following of some kind higher than mine. And but with podcast, it is different because podcasting is, I have a podcast too. It's called the Marty Ray Project Chats, right? I have a
Okay.
podcast. My whole career actually started with a podcast, believe it or not. Before I ever said I'm going to be a musician or anything, I had a podcast back in 2006, 7, or it was like podcasting had just began, and I had a podcast then, and I interviewed Darius Rucker on that podcast. I had no fans besides just podcast fans. That's all people knew me for back then. And I couldn't keep a consistent co-host. So I just said, well, forget it. Because I was trying to lift them up with me. I invested a lot of money and time into equipment and advertising and things like that. Back when podcasts got no respect.
Yeah, that's
back then.
That's an OG podcaster right there, because I just got into it a couple of years ago, and they say it takes 3 years. Excuse me. So if you were doing it way back then, that's the Joe Rogan was doing it, and they were all just kind of getting started back then.
Yeah, well, I was definitely in that era, but I mean, I didn't stick with it because like it was called Memnash Radio back then, and Memphis Nashville Radio is what I called it, and we did it for 2 years, and then the co-host, like I said, the co-host kept leaving, kept quitting, so I said, well, I'll just start doing music only then, and
it's worked out pretty well. It's worked out pretty good for you.
It's been okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm going to do this because I got some comments, and I want to make sure we touch on your covers, and I'm going to be very respectful. If you sure, do you got a few more minutes that we can?
Oh, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just waiting on my yard to get mowed.
So just so the viewers will watch this, not only of course you got covers, and Alan, a guy I do another podcast about outside called Dayfire, about going great adventures in the great outdoors. Alan was on our other podcast. He's a very good painter and artist himself, but he said Dock of the Bay is his favorite cover of yours, and Simple Man too. And then Richie Wade. Now, Richie Wade is Roger Allen Wade's brother. Roger Allen Wade's a musician and singer and Country State of Mind. You may have heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said any live performances today. I don't think so, Richie. That's not what I agreed to. Are you talking about me, Richie? I'll be happy to sing for you, but I think you'll jump off the podcast real quick. But
I'll sing right here, but I mean, as far as grabbing the guitar and trying to set up a camera like this or something, I won't be able to do that. But
well, maybe before we leave, that would maybe way we just end it. You can warm up. But so not only are you a songwriter and a performer, but you're also an actor. You've been in some movies and some TVs. Have you written and directed as well, right?
I have. Yeah, I do all that. I actually have a script that I'm shopping around right now for a movie. And if it gets made, I might retire. I don't know.
Just, hey, listen, if it gets made, just give me one more before it goes public. And then I can always say, I talked to him when,
Well, you can say that now.
Hey, so with the writing process, what's the difference in the writing process from music to when you start looking at movies or TVs? Do you have a set time where you go and say, okay, I know you're a creative guy, and nobody can put you in a box. That's part of your bio. But do you have times where you go, I'm going to go let my creative juices flow, or do you just write when it hits you?
Well, somebody asked me this yesterday, actually. Sometimes it's like God will wake me up with a song, and I'll just wake up and have to go and write some words down, write a melody down, and put it in my voice memo. Sometimes I'll be playing the guitar and I'll just be playing around a little bit, chord noodling maybe, and I'll just start singing a little bit, and then next thing you know, I'll say I need to record that. Now I'll record it on my voice memo. Sometimes I'll be driving down the road and a song will come to mind, and I'll start singing it into my phone. And I got thousands of those little little snippets of songs that could be finished at any moment. So there's no shortage of songs, because once I start writing a song, I can finish the song in 30 minutes, easy.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's it different? Is it the same thing though when it comes to the movies and screenplays? The idea come, or is that more disciplined, or does it same way? It just comes to you when it comes to you.
Well, that is not the same way at all. That's a lot harder. Writing a script, for me, writing a script is a very tedious. It's a very tedious process, and because you have to, at that point, you're in a song. You have a whole story here, and the story is a 3-minute story. So you write that song, and you have the beginning, middle, and end already here usually, and then you put that song down, and it lives as it is. Then you build off of what you created already. With a script or a movie, anything like that, you don't have. You start writing it, you don't have the ending in mind most of the time, or the middle. You just have an idea, and you just start writing the idea, and you hope that it ends up turning into something good. And you gotta figure out while you're writing, because you're writing dialogue for different characters. You're writing dialogue, so you have to figure out how to make your mind a different character for each line of dialogue too. So that's a hard process. Some people it's easy for, but not for me. But I do get those ideas, and I want to write them down, so I do it.
I've written a bunch of poetry. I like to sit down. I don't play an instrument, but I can write. I like to write. I say I like to write. So what I've done is what I've come to a conclusion about writing for me, and I think it's true for most people, is if you can learn how to write, and not at your level, but if you can just learn how to put your thoughts out of your brain and on paper, even if you read it later and it sucks, it's good therapy and it's a good practice, because that's the expression of the heart in my world. I like that. I'll write something in my brain. I think, this is it, man. It's going to be in a book. It's getting published. And I'll go back and read it and go, well, that was garbage. Let's just throw that one away. But it's healthy. I think it's good therapy for people.
I think everything in your heart should be written down. I think all creative things should be shared. Even the ones that suck. There's some songs that got on my. There's a few songs that when I wrote them, I thought, man, this is a hit, right? Because if I'm writing in the middle of writing a song, and I think, well, yeah, this ain't gonna be any good when I finish it, I just don't finish it. But every song that I finished, I felt like, man, this has got a chance to really do something with people,
Yeah.
right? Really move people. So every song that I have is that way. And then, but years later, some of those songs, like on Expression Not Perfection, because that album's from like 2015. So
yeah,
some of those songs that were on there had been written for 10 years before that album got made,
Wow.
And so I put them on there. And then when I go back and listen to them now, some of them I'm like, man, that ain't no good. That song sucks, man. But then I start thinking, well, I shouldn't have put that on there. But then I'll get people that will message me, and they'll say, uh, man, your song such and such really like saved my life, or really moved me and did this for me and my girls, and like me and my children, we love that song. And I get messages like that, and I go, well, that's why we should take ourselves out of it and let God work through us, and go ahead and just release everything you got. If it's poetry, if you think it's crappy, put it out there in the world. Let people critique it if they want, but let the ones that don't critique, but they are inspired by it, be inspired by it, even if it's one person. That's what I learned through all this with all this chaos of the music business I'm in.
Well, if you're ever in need, if you think to yourself, I just don't have enough poetry or words that suck, holler at me. I will fill your inbox up with sucky lyrics, man. Apparently, that's my gift.
Send me some poetry. I want to read it anyway.
I wrote one
right now.
I'll tell you, I will send you one I wrote for my son. It's called Words, and I wrote it for him about 8 or 9 years ago. And to me, I've written some other stuff, but to me, it's the one, because I read it as a dad, and I kind of read it even now, and I go, no, that's exactly how I felt then. It's exactly how I feel now. So that means it works for me.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you some of the general questions, and then we're going to play a quick game that me and my daughter have been playing. So I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions. Influences. I mean, it's hard for me to ask who influenced you when I listen to your music, and it sounds like everybody that had talent. Anybody that had talent kind of had a little bit of
Wow.
influence on you, right? I mean, I listen to you, I hear blues, I hear country, I hear all these genres, and I'm assuming that you have some favorites in all the genres.
I think we all do that as far as that goes. But growing up, I listened to. Growing up, my whole childhood was people like, you probably don't know who this is, but people like Mahalia Jackson and Shirley Caesar and uh, like a lot of gospel, like black gospel. That's what I grew up listening to. And in my teenage years, I started listening to Boys to Men. That was a huge influence on me.
Yeah.
And then I started listening to Beastie Boys, and my parents listened to country music, so I didn't really like country music. Um, but my mom took me to a Garth Brooks concert in Memphis when I was young. I forget the exact age, but when I was young, and I say a teenager, I'm horrible with times and age, so I'm bad with that. I don't know what age I really was at all these stages, but we're just guessing here with my mind.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, when I seen that concert as a boy, it really made me give country music a chance, and I fell in love with Garth Brooks, and because of Garth Brooks, I started going back and listening to George Jones and Hank Jr. and then Hank Sr. and all these other people, and started really appreciating their music and started loving their music. And then from that, well, before that, I listened to like Leonard Skinner, Southern Rock, and because of
You like
Southern Rock,
CCR? Do you like Credence?
oh yeah,
See,
CCR,
I grew up listening to that. Yeah.
yeah, CCR, ZZ Top. Um, Go figure, ZZ Top,
I was going to say.
ZZ Top, yeah, and then Charlie Daniels. Charlie Daniels, because of those Southern rock bands, Charlie Daniels uh, started getting in my playlist, and then BB King came along with the straight blues, and then that got me into BB King. Led to Muddy Waters and Little Walter and people like that. Just starting to my whole as I was growing up, my whole life of singing, I was mimicking other artists. I don't. You've probably heard this before if you've heard some of my interviews. I was mimicking other artists, so my whole life I would try to sound exactly like whoever I was listening to at the time.
Well, I'll tell you, there's one of the things that I wrote down is I'm a big Muddy Waters and Buddy Guy fan. I love Buddy Guy. What kind of woman is this? Have you ever heard that song?
I don't think so.
Oh God.
I really have only heard a couple of Muddy Waters songs, and it was just because he was like one of the fathers of blues because of, like I said, because of BB King.
What kind of woman is this? Is a Buddy Guy song that if you ever get a chance to look it up, man, it is.
Oh, it's Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy. Well, I like them both, and they kind of they sing a lot of the same kind of music. But Buddy Guy and Muddy Waters. Buddy Guy sings a song called "What Kind of Woman Is This," and it is straight up one of my favorite songs of all time. You don't want me to sing it to you, but I will tell you this. I'll send you the link, and if you ever cover it, man, I'll definitely check it out. Okay, two last things, and we'll play our game, man. Have you ever heard of J.J. Grey and Mofro?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, okay, good. I'm gonna send you some stuff because I think these are guys that you and folks you would like. I heard an interview with you, or I read it. I can't remember because I've read some stuff the last couple of days that I found super. I just found it refreshing. You said in the past that you've heard a lot of young people say that are coming up after you, this young generation or just younger than you, and they go, I'll do anything, I'll do whatever it takes to be successful. And yeah. I've heard you kind of call bunk on that and say, that's the wrong answer.
It really is.
Tell people why. I think it's cool to hear this.
Well, if you say you'll do anything for people say that all the time. Even the motivational speakers, they say, you got to be willing to do anything, give up anything for this success. And man, that means turning your back on your family and your morals and your God, whatever it is, give it up because this is what you have to do for success. And a lot of people do that because they're trained at a young age to do that very thing. So they're trained to say, well, nothing is more important than my success. Nothing's more important than me becoming successful. So they'll do it. Like me, I said, when I heard all that, I was like, there's no way. There's things I'm not going to do. I'm not going I'm not going to go on tour and stay gone for a year at a time and lose my family over it, because music is not more important than my family. I'll work at a factory before I lose my family to music, you see. So if I can't have my family with music, then I just won't have music. But thank God I'm able to have both because of internet. So
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that. But no, I don't think that that's a good message to send to people. Be willing to give up everything for success. That's a horrible message, because if you're living and your whole goal in life is just to be successful, and and what you're trying to be successful at is money. That's a horrible mentality to me already. If you want to be successful at family and being a good person and being a good Christian, or being just a good human, then yeah, let's give it all to it. But if you're saying my whole goal is to just be famous or be rich, and I'll give up anything for it, that is foolish. That's foolish, and you will be disappointed in the end.
I heard that, or I read it, like I said, and I thought, what great advice. Really, it doesn't matter if you're an artist or performer. What great advice, or what a great take on life for anybody that's young and starting off, or anybody any age, that whatever your goal is it's not worth sacrificing who you are. I like that. And I thought it was refreshing, because you don't hear a lot of people say that.
Yeah, most people are like, you gotta be willing to die for this, man. And people say that to me, and I'm like, I ain't gonna die for it. I guarantee that ain't gonna happen. If it gets to killing me, then I'll just quit.
Well, don't do that. All right. So listen, I was trying to make this kind of a very casual, just something that's we kind of jump on, because down the road I'd like to do more of this kind of stuff. If you got time, if you got something coming up and you want to make an announcement. So before we get off this, I want to make sure we tell people where they can find all of your stuff, because I want to create more fans out of this, because I think what you're doing is great. But you agreed to two things. One, we're going to play a quick little get. My daughter and I do this. Would you rather? So
Okay.
these are questions. People are going to get to know you. This is where your true character is going to show through, sir, right here. Here we go. You only get one for the rest of your life. Marty Ray, pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes or waffles?
Yep.
Son of a gun. You talking to a fat boy.
Listen, you're only seeing me from here up.
I gotta go with waffles on that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's got those little places that catches the butter and the syrup, man.
Them syrup cups just can't be beat.
No, they can't. Do you put ketchup on your eggs? Scrambled eggs?
Ooh, no. Do you?
Heck yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what though. I'm a big ketchup guy, so I'm a guy that'll try anything once. I've never tried it, so
scrambled eggs and ketchup.
I ain't gonna ooh it until I've tried it.
All right, you only get one of the three for the rest of your life: tater tots, onion rings, or French fries.
Tater tots, onion. That's easy. French fries, like there's no question.
See, I went with tater tots on that one. All right, so if you could go back in time, somebody that's already passed away, and see one concert in person, who would you go see? Artist.
Well, that would definitely be Mahalia Jackson. Like, you don't understand really who she is, probably, but she was one of the pioneers of gospel music back in the day. She would sing in auditoriums, and if I'm remembering correctly about the history, they didn't have they didn't have amplifying systems. They didn't have PA systems back then. In whatever where she was singing, and her voice was so powerful that she could fill the room with her voice, just without any and over all the music, and everybody could hear her from. There was not a bad seat in the house. So something like that would be worth the experience to me for sure. And there's many others. Of course, I would have liked to have seen Elvis Presley. I'm a big Elvis Presley fan, but I kind of do experience Elvis Presley now through all the videos. I feel like so. And even the impersonators, there's some impersonators out there that are really good at doing Elvis. So, there's nobody impersonating Mahalia. So I think it'd be Mahalia.
We got people playing online. You can go back and look at the comments. Allison said she'd like to see Prince. I get it. I understand. That would be a big one too.
Yeah.
All right. Last question for you, sir. Is there anybody out there that you would like to perform with? I mean, that you haven't, and it doesn't have to be now, that you want to be on the stage with? And you know what? I lied. I got two more. Who do you want to perform with? Is there somebody out there you'd like to maybe kind of hook up with and do a song or two with?
Well, I'll tell you, I love I love Adele and Alicia Keys. That would be amazing. To sing with either one of those people would be amazing to me. I'd be honored to get to do that.
I love
So,
Alicia Keys too. Me, if you could go back and be in a movie, any movie, and be one and play one character in the movie, Godfather, The Natural, I don't care. Is there one movie you'd like to go be in and be a character in it?
hmm. Um,
See,
who
mine
would?
would be I'm old school Western. I grew up with John Wayne, so I would probably want to go back and be in a John Wayne movie and be one of the guys on John Wayne's team.
How old are you?
52.
So you know my I'm kin to Gene Autry. You know who that is?
Yeah, I know you. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So he's a distant relative of mine.
Oh
My
wow.
my mom's side are the Autrys. So he's in my bloodline. But no, I never have liked westerns, like old westerns. My dad loves them,
Yeah.
but the new ones I like. But a movie, who would I want to play in a movie? I mean, do I get to change my looks?
Yeah, you can be whoever you want. I
Heck,
just want to know what movie. I'm trying to figure out what movie character you are. Are you a good guy? Let me make it easy. Would you want to be a good guy or a bad guy?
well, I'd probably want to be an anti-hero type character, So
There you
it'd be
go.
it'd be more like, something like I always like the guy in I tell you, one of my favorite movies is Tommy Boy. So maybe I'd want to be Chris Farley. You know
Heck
what I mean?
yeah. So now you're talking. See, all my friends and I, we speak fluent movie quotes. That's how we respond to each other, is in movie quotes. So Tommy Boy's got about some of the 5 or 6 of the best movie quotes of all time. All right. Hey, we're going to wrap it up, man. And I appreciate it. We're at 36 minutes. I took way longer than I told you.
Oh man, you
Um,
ain't worried about. We could have talked on the phone. The same difference. It ain't gonna work me.
I appreciate you doing it. I'd love to try to do it again later down the road as we're all figuring out this quarantine thing. If you want to find, there is a little delay on the internet. I don't want you to do anything you're not proud of as far as quality, as far as the internet goes. If you want to take us out with a song, that's great. But before you do, tell everybody where they can find your stuff. I've got it on the scroll here too. You're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Is there something coming up that you want to tell folks about?
Well, I just released all my music to Spotify, so I'd like for people to go follow me on Spotify. Every social media, Twitter, Instagram, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok,
Are you on
anywhere
Tik?
there's
Wait, are
social
you on
media.
TikTok? Are you on
I'm on
TikTok?
TikTok. Yes, sir.
And my daughter's tricked me into a few of those. So, Dad, do this, and I'll do something, and I'll go, "What did I do?" She goes, "You're on TikTok." I'm like, "Come it."
Yeah, now you're famous.
Yeah, now she sucked me in.
Yeah. No, so all that it's at Marty Ray Project anywhere.
Okay.
So yeah, if y'all want me to sing a song, I'll sing a song.
Yeah,
What do they
you
want to
tell me
hear?
how long you want to take, and that way I'll know when to shut us down, sir. Like you can go to the end. I just want to make sure you're not feeling any pressure to do
I don't feel no pressure. I do this right
it.
here all the time. I don't know if you've ever watched me on a live stream or not, but this is what I do all the time. See, I'm a pro at the camera angle. See there?
I see it.
Um, what song?
Oh golly.
Somebody got a song on the comment?
Yeah. Anybody? Well, let's give it a second. I will tell you, the more you move, sometimes there's a little delay. So if you start singing and moving a lot, anybody got a comment? I mean, I've got mine. I mean, I like Simple Man, but that's kind of a hard one to do. But I want to make sure you're doing one. Oh wait, hey, wait. What was that? What was the one he said? A Dock of the Bay. It's on Dock
Okay.
of the Bay. That's Alan's favorite one. And Simple Man. You pick the one, sir.
All right. Well, no, I ain't gonna pick it. Then I gotta pick between y'all two. So you pick the one.
Let's go with sitting on the dock of the. Let's go Dock of the Bay.
All right, sitting on dock of the bay. So you saying there's a delay if I move?
Just a little bit. When you move, the more you move, there's a little bit of a hitch.
Huh. All right, well, we'll see what happens. Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and I'll watch them roll away again. Oh, I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. There you go.
Heck yeah, man! That just made my night.
Man,
I
made
appreciate
mine
that.
too.
Well, I'm gonna send you some bad. I'll send you that. I'm gonna send you a video of Buddy Guy and what kind of woman is this, just because I like sharing it. I'll send you that other stuff. And I know you're super busy. Get to it when you can. But if I never talk to you again, and I hope that's not the case, this has meant a lot to me, and I wish you the best, most success you could possibly have, sir.
Well, you mean a lot to me, so we will talk again. And everybody that tuned in here, everybody, I'm telling you, my people, my projectors mean the most to me, and I don't just say that because I'm live. I would tell you that on the phone. That's the truth. God bless me with y'all, and that's the way I look at it. Y'all are all blessings to me, for real.
Well, that's awesome. We'll add to them then. We'll add a few more on this video over the next few days too. So go be safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Marty Ray.
All right, brother. God bless
All
y'all.
right. All right. See you, buddy.